What's up, people? I am back for another video. So, before I start this one, I am gonna announce my planned videos this week. So today, I am gonna review the one, or right now. Then tomorrow, I'm gonna do a fixing on we're gonna do another horror fixing since we're getting closer to Halloween. I'm gonna review the movie, not review, I'm gonna fix the movie Jason Goes to Hell and kind of give a better idea of what they could have done with that film. So that'll be tomorrow. Then, then my next franchise, seeing as it's only 3 films, I could knock them all out this week. We're gonna review the Austin Powers movies. So I think that'll be fun. And since it's only 3 films, and then after that, I'll just announce it here. My next big franchise, probably after that, will be Rocky, but I'm gonna save those until we get maybe a little bit past Halloween Kills, because I'm obviously gonna have some Halloween related videos and stuff. So, and I want to focus on horror for the most of the month, but probably when you get closer to Halloween, I'll probably start the Rocky movies. So, we'll do the first one, or International Man of Mystery, on Wednesday. Thursday we'll do Spy Who Shagged Me. Then Friday we will do Gold Member. So, and then some between one of those days we will do a bands I love. Either it probably will be late night again, I don't know, but it will be on the band journey. So those are my planned videos this week. Now to the main one. I since we reviewed the Romeo Must Die last week, a Jet Li film. Oh, and yeah, I got a new bomb. Posted it on Instagram. But I I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna review some Jet Li movies just because Jet Li, for the most part, doesn't do franchise films, so I can just like do these one-off reviews. So I was like, fuck it, we're gonna review another one, and another Jet Li classic in my opinion, the film The One. This came out in 2001. I remember really liking it at the time, but I hadn't watched it probably since it had to have been like 2011, 2012, maybe. I think is the last time I remember watching it, because I think I remember watching it with my good friend. But I remember liking it, but then rewatching it, man, the soundtrack, especially, y'all know me, big metalhead and stuff like that. The fucking soundtrack is lit. You got fucking, they played Bodies out of nowhere by Drowning Pool. They played Down with the Sickness. They played Last Resort in the end. Played some other good songs. And I actually really like the concept, because the concept was Gabe Ulaw, who is an agent for the multi. They're the because they explore the concept of multiverses, which is interesting, because this was one of those early, because most movies did not do the whole multiverse thing. That was a new. I mean, it was done in comics probably even by this point, not in films. So, and I thought, I'll give it this. They explain that stuff very well for like not a major franchise. They made it pretty explainable how the multiverse works and how he based. It's almost, you could tell they definitely had some ideas from Highlander, because you know, I am the one kind of deal. So you kind of have that same concept. So basically, he kills himself, and he has to, and we have multiverse agents. Jason Statham, who character's name is Edward. Oh, Evan, and then Delroy Linkle plays Harry. So they have to stop Yulov basically from killing all his multiverse selves, because it makes him stronger. And that's basically this film. Really good film. I'll admit the ending's a bit cheesy, but I really do like it. I think it's a fun film. A lot of the action scenes are really good. CGI is pretty wonky, but I'm gonna look at it like they probably didn't get a big budget for this, you know, and shit like that, and like CGI. This is 2001, so this is when probably like they started using CGI more and more in film. So overall, I like it. So, but here we go. So the film opens up with Lawless. This is another multi version of Jet Li. He's being like basically taken away, being transferred. We're in like this futuristic looking prison. But then Gabriel Yulaw shows up. Get this badass action scene where he basically takes her. He kills Lawless or the 123rd version of himself. Then we get this big badass scene. This is where they play Bodies, and I was watching like, what the fuck? I didn't remember they played this song in the movie. And then they played it for a bit, and he just starts whipping motherfuckers' ass, and then Evan and Harry end up chasing him, but they have to. Cause I think they have 30 seconds before they get transferred back. So they get transferred back to the base. They take Gabriel basically about to like execute him and telling him about his crimes. Then we see Carla Gugino, who you might recognize. She's in Watchmen. I don't know what other thing she was in, but she was in Watchmen. So she shows up and she's watching the speech and about because he's about to get sentenced. So so she releases like a rat, which turns out to be like a bomb, like a bomb goes off, obviously causes a fucking disruption. Yulaw escapes, and he transports back to this is where we meet Gabe Law, Jet Li's other self. And yeah, so Evan and Harry basically have to, or Rodecker, that's what they call him in the film, and Funge, but I'm gonna just call him Evan. So Yulaw escapes. Now this is the last known variation, Gabe Law, who is like a police officer working in the Los Angeles department. He's about to transport somebody. Yulaw attacks. We get this big chase scene. Then Yulaw shoots Gabe, but obviously doesn't kill him. So Gabe goes home, and this is where, in this version, him and Carla Gugino, or TK, is his wife, and they check his mental stability. And throughout the film, Yulaw basically so they track Yulaw down to the hospital. We get this big hospital shootout because while I think Gabe is getting his brain scanned, and fucking so Yulaw shows up, fucks shit up, have a big shootout with Rodecker and Evan, and basically while this is happening, and you know what it was gonna happen. Gabe was gonna get basically accused of the crimes, so he has to run away as a fugitive. Talks to his wife one more time, runs off. Then Yulaw chases off. He poses as like a dead body in the autopsy room, escapes, and then Rodecker follows him. Then we get this kind of funny scene where Yulaw's checking music. He's playing like the radio, and they play this. I don't know the exact song, but the song is really dope. This soundtrack, I'm like, I did not remember this soundtrack being this fucking metal. So, like I said last week with Romeo Must Die having a dope like R&B soundtrack, this is one of the dopest rock and metal soundtracks of like the early aughts. I did not remember this movie having the soundtrack, so Rodecker was in there while Evan has to confront Gabe about like what's going on and tells him why he's experienced all these things. Yulaw causes like Rodecker and him go have a back and forth because Yulaw was a former agent, but he started realizing I think they do a good job of explaining the multiverse and interdimensional travel and that it's been banned. I think that's if you're gonna do things like this, you should not. I'm not. I don't think it should be ridiculously easy, but I also do think it needs to be easy enough for people to follow. Because at the end of the day, normies are if they don't get it, you're not. Your movie's probably not gonna go over if normies don't get it. And I think they did a good enough job of explaining it and not complicating it. So Gabe initially obviously doesn't want to have anything to do with, so he kind of walks off. While Rodecker, we get kind of a cool fight between him and Yulaw, but Yulaw ends up killing him, takes out a few cops. One part of the movie was just he grabs like it was two cops on bikes, he takes them out, then he grabs the bikes and then like squishes like a cop. I was like, man. So he steals a cop car. Then Yulaw realizes Gabe is married. So Yulaw, um, because the police end up taking TK back to the house because they're worried about Gabe being there. So they check the house, and Yulaw posing as Gabe asks TK to give him a gun, but then TK notices that actual Gabe is climbing on top of a roof. Then it turns out it's Yulaw. Yulaw gets the gun from her, kills the officer, and then in front of Gabe, you get this really kind of actually well executed scene. And I think Jet Li showed his acting here. His reaction seemed real when he saw his wife just get. Yulaw ends up killing his wife in front of him. Then he has to run away from getting shot at because they think he's the killer. So he runs off. Evan ends up saving him. Basically, this is a revenge plan. He plans on killing Yulaw. Then Yulaw and you get this one scene where it's I can't remember the dude's name. Delroy Lindo's character. He plays another person because it's a multiverse, and in this he's just some regular dude. You have a little interaction between the two of them, and basically Gabe wants to fucking kill Gabe. I think they did a really good job with this like bad version, and they kind of did. If you were, I don't know if you saw anybody saw this movie, but this was a Will Smith movie that came out 2 years ago called Gemini Man, which almost obviously slightly different, but there was definitely you could tell he took some elements like the good and bad version of the character. I think it wasn't executed as great. It was okay. Then, but yeah, that was just a side point. So Gabe and Evan confront Yulaw. Yulaw dispatches of Evan pretty quick. Then we get the final fight between the two, which I think they did a good enough job. Yeah, there were moments the CGI didn't look great, but I think it was a pretty good fight nonetheless. Eventually, Gabe like masters his powers, and then like just bodies Yulaw, but they end up getting transported back to the wormhole. Yulaw initially acts like he's Gabe, but then Evan realizes it's not him because the finger had impressions, meaning that's supposed to be his ring finger. So they end up sending Yulaw to Hades. Basically, that's like their version of prison. Then they send Gabe back, and they send him back into a world where he sees another version of having a normal life, and I guess this is where he first meets Teak. I'll admit it's a bit cheesy. I think it would have been more interesting if they just send him back to the world and he has to somehow clear his name. I think that would have been better. But where they sent Yulaw, he gives this speech about being the one, and then we just get fucking Last Resort just fucking breaks out of fucking nowhere, and he just starts fucking these dudes up, and then the film goes to credits. Fucking dope scene. I actually really like this movie. Really fun. It's not the greatest movie, and like I said, I think the ending where they send Gabe to like, because his wife's alive again. Okay, that's a bit. But I get it. This was at that time. Movies had to have a happy ending. That's just what it was back in these time period. But I overall really enjoyed this film. I think it was a fun film. A lot of the action scenes were fun. Jet Li did a good job at playing good. Because I actually already, like I said in my Lethal Weapon review series way back when, that he played a good bad guy in the fourth film. So I thought he was a pretty good bad guy in this, just wrecking motherfuckers. And then I thought he did a good job as Gabe. And the scene where he sees his wife get killed, I'm not gonna lie, that was executed good. That was perfectly executed. So I actually really do like this movie. I definitely recommend, just for the soundtrack alone. Just listening to just these songs that I listen to all the time anyway. But I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't remember they played this in this movie. So out of 10, definitely I would give this like a 7, 8 out of 10, just for a fun action movie. Oh, and it's Asian led. Simu Liu, you're not the first. But yeah, this film is fucking great. I'll probably continue to do some Jet Li movies. Eventually, I'm gonna do Fearless. I'll probably either do that next week or the week after. I think next week I'll review Exit Wounds, which it's a film of him and not Exit Wounds, Cradle to the Grave. With it's him and DMX. That's a fun one, so I'll probably review that next week. But yeah, I'm having fun just reviewing Jet Li films. Jet Li, his choreography, and I actually thought Jason Statham, but then you gotta remember this was a young Jason Statham before he became like that action star. He still even had hair, so he wasn't even like. And I thought Delroy did a pretty good job. Like a lot of the side characters worked. Carla Gugino worked as the wife. I mean, I wasn't expecting a lot from her, but I thought it was a fun film. So yeah, I'm gonna cheers to this film. But overall, yeah, this is a really good film. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a fixing on Jason Goes to Hell because I think there could have been a good film in there. You just got to get rid of a lot of things. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. But other than that, as usual, fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck Joy Reid. Fuck LaBitch James. Fuck Kevin Smith. Fuck Joe Biden. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace!